Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day today. We have racing in all four series coming your way, but first, we have what could be, in my opinion, the biggest announcement of our NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode so far. One season remains, and Roush Fenway Racing and myself are now coming together to start a third car at Roush-Lebron Racing next season here. And there it is. You see our next season car. I am leaving Gordon-Hendrick Motorsports. Look at that beautiful Pepsi paint scheme right there made by Lation. There's the news. Gary Owen announced today that he will be moving to Roush-Lebron Racing next season in a shocking move from Gordon-Hendrick Motorsports. Quote, "I want something new and a new challenge. This will present that to me." GHMS Gordon-Hendrick Motorsports is planning to bring back William Byron to the 24 as Earnhardt Johnson Racing is now expected to shut down at the end of the season. Huge news, and what I said, I think the biggest of the career mode so far. I don't think any of you guys saw that coming. I teased it with when Keselowski announced his retirement of bringing in a superstar driver, but I don't think any of you expected it to be me leaving this team, and I decided, you know what, we didn't originally plan to do one more season of the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode, so with the NASCAR 21 Ignition release date being so late, I decided, you know what, we might as well just throw a huge curveball at the series and do something wild. And it's not going to be easy because with mods, this really helps us with this role I want to play with next season. Is when we first go to this Roush-Lebron Racing team, this team's still going to be a 4-star car with that 6 car that I will now be driving. But with mods, we can have a storyline where we are going to be spending time trying to upgrade our car with R&D. Obviously, I'm not sure how I'm going to display that quite yet, but I'll do the best I can because it's going to be modded. But basically, by the end of the season, we will have a 5-star top-tier car, hopefully, with Roush-Lebron Racing. So when we start out with a 4-star car, we're not going to be contending for race wins. We're going to be clawing our way through the field to try and get a top 10 on a good day. So it is going to be an all-out fight to make the playoffs next season in our career mode, and I am very excited for this new challenge that we have not had since at all in the Cup Series. We've never had to fight our way into the playoffs because we've always been in a 5-star car. So here we are focusing on the actual racing in the Legend Series, where I actually finished 8th here, which was a nice start to the day of racing, as Jonathan Cadell would pick up the victory. Now, as you see the rest of the order on your screen, let me know what you guys think of the move. I'm probably sure a lot of you might not be happy, but some of you might be actually ecstatic with this move. I myself am very, very excited now as we come through into the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series race here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We had community member Zach Martin in the truck for us here, and he started just outside of the top 10, so he had a little bit of work to do, but he was not going to waste any time here getting aggressive like we've seen all throughout the season in the truck series. Our drivers that we put in here get very aggressive right off the bat, and now as he was going down this back straightaway, already made up some good ground here as he went down towards turn 3, making some 3-wide moves. There he is going up towards the top 5 here now as it came through at a turns 4, passing the 52 of Stuart Friesen, but that got taken 3 wide in the middle there. It was actually 4 wide, I think, for a very brief moment here as he went down this front stretch, but now a little bit later in this race, trying to again work his way up here, well up inside the top 5 now as it came through at a turns 4, trying to make that outside work here and there, but we cut straight through towards the end of this race. This now on the final lap, and unfortunately didn't quite get anywhere now as he was up the inside of the 88 here through turns 3 and 4 for the final time, and the 88 has the advantage on the exit of the corner, but side drafting there from Zach down the front straight, but it's going to be side by side to the line, and Zach is actually going to get 4th here for us. So a really good way to start this episode with 8th place in the Legend Series and a 4th place finish here in the Truck Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, building up this confidence here into this episode with Xfinity Series as well as the Cup Series on the way. And in the Cup Series, I'm a little bit concerned for this episode because this first race of the round of 12, we go to a mile-and-a-half track that I have struggled at a lot in the past at Chicagoland Speedway. So going to be interesting to see how we do there now as Paul Menard would get underway here from Las Vegas. We do not have a very good track record at Las Vegas in the Xfinity Series. When I myself was Xfinity Series racing, I was terrible at Las Vegas. Paul Menard, he hasn't been great either, and obviously this season we've gone to tracks in the Xfinity Series with Menard behind the wheel where he's struggled at in the past, and then he's done a lot better this season season. So I was expecting a better result here today from him in Las Vegas as well. I've also been thinking of how I could potentially incorporate the Xfinity Series and Truck Series into our NASCAR 21 Ignition career mode, because I don't want to lose the Trucks and Xfinity Series. Of course, they're not going to be a part of the game, but I'm thinking of bringing in another game like iRacing and using their AI potentially as just a little Xfinity and Truck Series thing before our Cup race in the career mode in the video. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here. We've got plenty of time to brainstorm ideas before that October 28th release date, but we come straight through towards the end of this race. Paul had worked his way up into third place on the final lap here, trying to have a scrap with Kimi Räikkönen for the runner-up second position there as they were side-by-side through turns 1 and out of turns 2. Now down the back straightaway here, trying to get that second spot. Who is it going to be into turn 3? It was Roman Grosjean, by the way, who had completely dominated the race. He had driven away no competition whatsoever. By the way, that was not the final lap. This was the final lap, but I made a mistake right there. But we did get past Räikkönen, but then got passed by Kevin Magnussen, so it ended up being a third place finish for Paul Menard here from Las Vegas. So there you see Grosjean with the victory. Now Magnussen in second, and rounding out the top 10 was Jesse Little. Carl Long rounded out the top 20, and then the top 30, that was rounded out by Matt Mills. And you see at the very bottom there of the grid, JJ Yeley. So we're going to check out that playoff grid really quick here before we jump into the Cup Series race. And Menard is 43 points above the cut line there after Las Vegas. Clements, Half, Brandon Brown, and Josh Williams all out now as we come through into the Cup Series from Chicagoland. Like I had mentioned a few moments ago, the confidence when it comes to this track here in Chicago, definitely not anywhere close to as good as the other mile and a half we go to, as I definitely think this is my worst mile and a half on the schedule. So we come through to start our qualifying lap, and the goal was to hit a 30.282 here as we make a mistake right there in turns 1, clip the apron, and I actually did the exact same thing in turns 3 and 4, so it was not a good lap whatsoever. Across the line with the 31.013 for the Camping Road 400, and we qualify in the same spot as our car number 4. Well, now only 7 more races here in this number 24 for Gordon-Hendrick Motorsports now. As we just announced today, we're moving to Roush-Lebron Racing now, as Keselowski has a very large leadership role over at that team, and that was a pivotal moment to get us to go to that team here next season. Now is Eric Jones on pole here now to start Chicagoland Speedway now, as we're going to look through the rest of the order real quick before we get ready to go green there. Rounding out the top 30, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who we will be replacing next season. And at the bottom, we got Suarez as well as Max Gutierrez as we get ready to go green for the Camping Road 400. Alright boys, new round of the playoffs. We come in with, I think, 24 points to the good, so we're not safe by any means. So we just got to be smart and be fast. Let's go have a good one. There you hear myself on the radio to the team. Be smart, be fast. Now, of course, we have some interesting playoff situations going on. Elliott, he is currently the top guy, 31 above the cut line. We're 24 above the cut line along with Christian Eckes. But then you go down towards the bottom, you got Harrison Burton, who's only 1 point above the cut line. So not in great shape, of course, for the Joe Gibbs Racing driver. You got guys like Jones as well as Sam Mayer, who are as well not very far above the cut line as well. You see the 4 drivers below the cut line now as we get ready to take the green flag here for the first race of the round of 12, which is now underway here from Chicagoland Speedway from the 23rd starting position now as we lead the way down towards turns 1. So the goal here, of course, is to try and get some stage points, get a top 10 finish. We don't want to come out of this race, say, any less than 20 points above the cut line, because we also have the Darlington race in this round of the playoffs. That is a big concern for myself, because that can go either way. We can go to Darlington, run top 5 all race, and extend our points gap enough to Talladega and be completely comfortable, or we could have a horrendous Darlington race and go into Talladega right around the bubble to make it into that next round of the playoffs. It really could go either way. So today's a really important race for us in this round of the playoffs. Every race, of course, is important, but I feel like this is the round right here that's kind of the curveball that could throw us anything. We could easily get eliminated in this round, in my opinion, and I said the same thing last season in the career mode, but we actually got through this round pretty well. But we got this track of Chicagoland Speedway where I've always struggled at. We got Darlington, where I mentioned can go either way already, and then we got Talladega, another one that can go either way. We can run really good, we can run absolutely horrendously and get caught up in a wreck late in that race or something. So very unknown really of what to expect here over these next 3 races, and just hopefully at the end of Talladega we will find ourselves above the cut line going into the round of 8, which is a round I'm very excited for because we got a road course at Mid-Ohio, as well as we got Iowa, which is a fun racetrack as well, and I think Kansas is the other track if I'm not mistaken in that round, and then of course Homestead, Miami for the final 4 race now as we come through to lap 6 of 19 here on the stage, and we are moving our way forwards. Todd Gilliland in the front row Mercedes had an early lead, actually a good lead. It was about a second in front of second place, so he was showing some legitimate speed in that car now. So we got up to 18th. We look up the inside of Noah Gragson here into turn 3 on lap 7. We would make a pass on him as well. Now is actually make a mistake, so we continue side by side here as we come through out of turns 4. Lewis Hamilton just in front of myself, and when we come to a track where we know we're not going to really run that good, I was running I think a custom setup too, by the way, and it's just how bad I am here. But like I said, when we come to a track where we know we don't run good, it always helps when you have other playoff drivers struggling, like Lewis Hamilton, who just picked up his first ever NASCAR Cup Series victory last episode at the Charlotte Roval. Wasn't surprised that it came on a road course, and that was the only reason really he made it into this round. Although if he would have ran second the whole race, he actually still would have made it into this round, so it actually didn't make a difference if he won the race or not now as we came through onto lap 10, now passing the 12 of Chase Briscoe in that Penske Ford Mustang. So up into the top 15, we look to the outside of Ryan Preece, and as this run went on, the tires wear, we were definitely showing a lot more speed. Sam Mayer in the McLaren now out in front. He's the only McLaren driver so far this season without a victory, so he would of course like to pull that off today, and what a clutch timing it would be. And McLaren just in general right now is absolutely on fire. They've been incredible all season long, but now they've got all their drivers contending for wins on a consistent basis, with Eric Jones winning the very first race of the playoffs there, as you see me on lap 12 pass another playoff contender of Christian Eckes in the Red Bull. Red Bull been very strong this season, but not a good start to this race for them right now outside of the top 10. No different than myself, of course, but you can see we were closing in towards the top 10, and that was a bit surprising to me. It took me a few laps here to get clear of the 21 of Anthony Alfredo, but I would do just that through turn 3. We get clear of him, take over the 13th position, then get to the back of Eric Jones and look to the outside of him. Now a bit of an odd run for him. We're used to seeing him run in the top 10 all the time, especially at mile and a half, so I was not expecting to see him running so low down the grid. So this was of course another confidence booster as well. You see Bubba Wallace running in 11th place right now, so a lot of top tier contenders this season are not having very good runs today. We come through to 2 laps to go in this first and opening stage. To the outside of Bubba Wallace, we're surrounded right here by the 2311 Racing team of Derek Kraus and Bubba now as we go down into turn 3, trying to get both of them now. Kraus right now trying to gain a few crucial points to get himself above the cut line. I'm trying to take those points away, cut straight through to the final lap, down the back straightaway here in stage 1. It's Sam Mayer in dominant fashion, easily cruising to a stage 1 victory. We're side by side with the 45 of Kraus. Bubba to the top, I'm in the middle, Kraus on the inside of the turns 4. It's going to be side by side down the front straightaway. Now who is going to get that one single stage point? It's going to be Derek Kraus in that 45 car, just barely hanging on there for that final spot inside the top 10. So no stage points for us here in stage 1, but we definitely proved that the longer the run goes, the better chance we have. So the only way we're going to be able to use that to our advantage is if no cautions are coming out in this race. So we have to hope for as little cautions as possible. A lot of times we rely on cautions to help us, but not today now, as you can see the rest of the order on your screen. So a rough stage 1 at least ended on a positive note with the speed kicking in the longer the run went here. Now as we're going to get ready, of course, with a pit stop of 4 tires as well as 2 cans of fuel. Some position swap in front of us. Harrison Burton gets in front of Chase Elliott. He moves to the outside, Elliott to the inside now in 9th place here as we get underway for the start of the second stage here from Chicagoland Speedway for the first time in the round of 12 here from Chicago. It is time to get amped. There you have the AMP segment here, and once again what you're seeing is this consistent trend that we've had at Chicagoland since NASCAR Heat 4 is on that short run, I just have no speed, and unfortunately we just drift down the order. It's all about just hanging on to the best position as possible before it starts to kick into our advantage. Sam Mayer, by the way, is on another level right now. He has incredible speed in that number 66 McLaren. Lewis Hamilton now on lap 4, coming to lap 5, gets up my inside, and Kyle Larson, he's just going to follow through, by the way, on the inside as well. So it wasn't looking good, and Kyle Larson not having a good run here today, but like I said earlier, these other playoff drivers not getting any stage points either has really helped us today now, and it looks like it's going to continue to be like that for the rest of this race, or rest of second stage. And then obviously we know we have more speed than Kyle Larson, Lewis Hamilton, Eric Jones, Christian Eckes on the long run, so I really think we are not going to be in that bad a shape running like this throughout this race, no matter what, even if we finish here at the end of stage 3. So now on lap 8, it was starting to once again kick back into our advantage. Only 10 laps to go in stage 2 at this point now, but we got back past Kyle Larson. We looked to the outside of Eric Jones, and as we went down this back straightaway towards turn 3 on lap 9, we would be able to get in front of him. He would fight back up the inside, but he didn't really have a whole lot to fight with out of turns 4 now, as we're right on the back of that Chip Ganassi Racing driver of Noah Gragson. What a rough few seasons it has been for him. He had a lot of consistency for Chip Ganassi, picked up his first win a couple seasons ago, and then ever since then that team, not Gragson, but that team in general, has just fallen off a drastic rate, pretty much. So they definitely are going to have to work hard next season if they want to be able to get better now, as we came through to 5 laps to go in stage 2 to the back of the 23 again of Bubba Wallace now, as Sam Mayer continues to run away with the stage victory now, as we're going to look to that outside of the 23. And I was really surprised that I was able to make the second line work here, just jump up a little bit higher than another driver and just drive around them. I usually don't get to do this in Chicago, or any mile and a half for that matter, so I was pleasantly surprised with that. So we got up into 12th place. You can see the rest of the drivers quite a ways out there in front of us, so it was going to be hard to run them down by the time we came through to the final lap of stage 2. We had gotten a little bit closer, but not close enough. Chase Elliott, by the way, running down in 11th place right now. I was very surprised to see yet another driver who has been so strong all season long be this far back here, as we went down this back straightaway towards turn 3 and 4 for the final time in stage 2. Sam Mayer won stage 1. He is going to, in dominant fashion again, just like stage 1, sweep the first 2 stages with a stage 2 victory as we come through down this front straightaway. Another non-top 10 as we cross the line for a 12th place finish. So some more adjustments to the car to do, because we need to try and take swings at this thing to hope that the short run isn't going to be as much as a hit as it has been earlier in this race to us now. So everybody, of course, coming into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires. Alex Bowman having a good run here today in Chicago. He got eliminated though in the last episode after the Charlotte Roval. Kyle Busch as well, another guy, a non-playoff driver, having a good run, just like Justin Haley. Todd Gilliland running up there in 7th. He actually led some laps earlier in this race. The only other driver I think that has led this race other than Sam Mayer in the 66 car here, as we're all, like I said, going to come into the pits for 2 cans of fuel, 4 fresh tires, made some minor adjustments to the car, and we come back out just where we came in that 12th position here. Just 1 stage remains from Chicagoland Speedway as this round of 12 is underway. With the first race, as we are back underway, it's going to be 25 laps to go here from Chicago. So there is a green flag pit stop on the way if it stays green. If a caution comes out, of course, everybody is going to come into the pit lane under the caution, and then we won't have to worry about a potential speeding penalty or something like that. But Sam Mayer leads the way out of turn 2. He's already clear, so he's got the opportunity to run away with this win right off the bat. But it's Chicagoland. I'm definitely expecting a caution before this race comes to a close, and now we know our car is not good on the short run, so we're just fighting as hard as we can to try and hold on to the best spot we can here, so that way we're not spending the last half of this fuel run just trying to make up for the time we lost, and we really overall don't gain anything compared to where we started here in stage 3. But Noah Gragson, he is going to drive by on the inside. Kyle Larson as well is going to make a 3-wide alongside Eric Jones and myself. There was some contact actually with Larson. He was sideways there on the exit of turn 2, saved it, but now we're 3-wide with him and Lewis Hamilton into turn 3. So we are having a terrible start to this third stage, probably the worst start we've had all day long, down to 18th place, losing a spot to the Red Bull as well of Christian Eckes. So not what we were looking for now with just 23 laps to go in this race. Now just trying to find an opportunity to kind of settle in here, push hard again, and get our way back forwards. But now we're going to get taken 3 wide in the middle by Byron on the inside, Priest on the outside, and bad goes to worse very quick here in Chicagoland. Now, thank goodness I had enough draft right there, though, to clear Byron into turn 3. Then we start putting the attack to the cars in front of us, Vekas, as well as Kyle Larson. 3 wide on the inside here, approaching just 20 laps to go. Sam Mayer still running away with the victory at this point now, as he was about a second again ahead of second place, and no one had anything for him at this point here in this race now, as we got clear of Kyle Larson, still side by side, of course, with that number 83 of Christian Eckes now, as we got Eric Jones running all the way up on the top, and he gets a really good run actually down the back straightaway, so the top can work for the AI, but we would get clear of Eckes. Look up the inside of Eric Jones into turns 1, and Sam Mayer was actually just continuing to pull away. You can see him up in front of us, just how far he's able to get ahead of that main pack. Now, I couldn't tell who was up into second, but whoever was up into second was starting to pull away from the pack and actually get a little bit closer and closer to Sam Mayer. So it might have not been over yet for that race for the win, as we got past the 7 of Eric Jones. We now look up the inside of Lewis Hamilton with 18 to go, but this is only a pass for 14th place. We still have a long ways to go to get up inside the top 10, and that was Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace battling it out for that final spot currently inside of the top 10. So now we try and set our sights on them. Now to lap 51, you can definitely see we were gaining a little bit, but now we gain a lot because the caution comes out, and that is going to force everybody onto the pit lane. So green flag pit stops not going to happen here today in Chicagoland Speedway. I decided to do right side tires only. It was a tough call to make because I felt like we were at a point in the strategy where it could go either way for 2 tires or 4 tires. So I decided to try and gamble here with 2 tires and maybe get some potential track position. So we'll have to wait and see though what everybody else does. So we would come in, put those 2 tires on, and then just a can of fuel, and you can see split strategy. We gained 9 spots, go up to 5th, but Chase Elliott did the same thing, Harrison Burton did the same thing, and Noah Gragson as well. So us 4 drivers gamble for track position. Sam Mayer goes from 1st place all the way down into the 6th position. Kyle Busch, by the way, he as well did 2 tires. So 5 drivers, the top 5 are all on 2 tires. Is that going to help us? We know that if we can keep this car planted on the bottom, it might give us a top 10 finish here from Chicago, but as well as I feel like this car in general just drives better on older tires. So I only wanted those 2 tires specifically because of that, because I feel like I could be better on 2 tires compared to 4 tires. So now at the inside of Harrison Burton as we exit turns 4, I could already tell we were going to be in trouble here because we were pushing up the track quite hard on the exit of these corners, still side by side with that 19 car. As we go down into turns 1, there was some contact with Burton. He's going to go sideways on the entrance of the corner. He saves it, a great save, but he's going to lose some crucial track position from that contact we made right there. Through turns 1 and 2 is to throw a bit of a block now on that number 96 of Brandon Jones. Here as we go down into turns 3. Alex Bowman on the outside, I mentioned earlier, having a great run there for a Gordon-Hendrick teammate. And now as we slide up out of turns 4 though, the 96 AlphaTauri driver Brandon Jones now contact with him through the tri-oval. He goes through to take 3rd place, a driver that came into this race below the cut line, having a great run, and unfortunately after that happened, it was like the floodgates open. Everybody was driving by us. We dropped all the way down into 8th place there as Joey Logano went by. Harrison Burton, of course, still behind us from that contact, but the 38 Todd Gilliland, he goes by as we go down into turns 1. The 23 drives by Bubba Wallace. Here goes Anthony Alfredo. Brandon Jones takes the lead in the AlphaTauri from Kyle Busch. Now Kyle still looking for his 1st win on the season. Kyle Busch has never gone winless in a season in our NASCAR Heat 5 career mode, and now has the potential to do so this season. But now as we came through to lap 59, down to 12th place behind Ryan Preece, we have a car blowing up in front of us. It's the 21 of Anthony Alfredo. That allows myself to go around the outside. I almost hit the wall actually there, but fortunately we find ourselves all of a sudden in the top 10. We haven't run top 10 all day, obviously, other than just recently there when we did the different strategy, but we immediately lose the spot back to the 2 of Ryan Preece. So I thought that was over right there, but as soon as that pass got completed, all of a sudden we hit that turnover point, that crossover. My car was way better than the 2 of Ryan Preece. So I would quickly get to the inside of him here with 7 laps to go. Here, some contact again, just like we did with Harrison Burton. Sideways goes the 2, not meaning to do that kind of contact with them, just a misjudgment from myself, and we would go into each other. But now to lap 63, look at us running down the 9 of Chase Elliott, but then the caution comes out with 5 laps to go, and that is going to force a 2-lap dash. And unfortunately, although our car right now is really good, all of a sudden at the end of this race, we are unfortunately going to be starting on the outside, as it looks like William Byron has brought out the caution. So definitely got our work cut out for us here on this final restart now, as Brandon Jones looks to get AlphaTauri's first win on the season. Alex Bowman in 3rd place. AlphaTauri hasn't won in general because this is their first season ever in NASCAR, as a green flag is out. 2 laps to go here from Chicagoland Speedway. Can Jones win his way into the round of 8 now, as we have, of course, a lot closer of a grid I'm expecting after this race, due to some of the drivers above the cut line like myself that have struggled, as well as the 5 of Kyle Larson, the 83 of Christian Eckes, the 7 of Eric Jones, and even the 23 of Bubba Wallace. Now, as we're going to look to the outside of Bubba, make it 3 wide with him, as well as that number 9 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Camaro of Chase Elliott through turn 3 and 4, trying to make it stick. Brandon Jones has decided to go to the top. Not sure if that's going to quite work, because Alex Bowman's to the inside. Mayer still in 3rd place. He's had the dominant car all day, but getting put behind after the last pit stop has put him in a spot on this final lap to really unlikely win this race now, as we're still trying to make a 3 wide with Bubba Wallace now, as we get clear down to 12th place. Jones, Bowman side by side for the lead now. Bowman just recently eliminated from the playoffs. Jones trying to win his way into the round of 8, 3 wide down the spag straightaway. There you see Bowman all the way to the inside, Jones all the way on the wall. He's only going to have momentum to rely on as we exit turns 4. Still 3 wide for the final spot in the top 10, but it's going to be a photo finish, but it's Brandon Jones winning in Chicago, as we also get 10th place in a photo finish there with the number 83 of Christian Eckes. I cannot believe we managed to get a top 10 out of that, but Brandon Jones wins in a photo finish over Alex Bowman. So a big moment right there. AlphaTauri gets their first ever win in NASCAR, and I mean, it comes at the perfect time, of course, now in the middle of the playoffs. So a big moment right there, as a car below the cut line comes in, runs well all race, and I mean, you could say steals the victory here in the late laps now, as they definitely didn't have a race winning car. That was Sam Mayer that had that. But of course, let's look at now the updated playoff grid. So Brandon Jones has advanced to the round of 8. Burton out by 3. Could kind of put the blame on me for that. We did lose 1 point. So after that rough race, we only lost 1 point. We're still 23 points above the cut line. Kraus out by 7. And then, of course, you saw the other 2 drivers on the outside looking in that we will highlight here in just a moment once again before we end this episode. And as always, of course, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time of your day to watch this episode. And the next one, the Xfinity Series, goes to the Charlotte Roval. So excited for some Roval racing. Hopefully Menard can get, I think, win number 7 it would be on the season. But we have the Southern 500 at Darlington. That is going to be a long, grueling race where who knows what's going to happen. I could see a lot of playoff drivers having issues. Hamilton out by 11. Jones, surprisingly, the last driver in the playoffs right now. A lot of work to do for him. Before we end it, just want to say thank you to the Going Racing members, of course, here on the channel. MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasura, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, Daniel 9302, Speed Demon 341, as well as Illinois Diecast. I appreciate you guys' support so much as usual, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.